Member for Berkeley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I rise to speak in support of the Payroll Tax Amendment Bill. And it was certainly interesting to hear some of the words from the opposition leader. On one hand, she was supporting our payroll tax bill, but on the other hand, she was trying to rewrite history in regard to quite a significant number of issues, Madam Speaker. And I'll get to that as I speak. But talking about the payroll tax bill, since 1st of January 2025, the payroll tax has been waived for over 100 employers with taxable Australian wages of 2.5 million or less. Madam Speaker, from the 1st of July 2025, the Payroll Tax Act 2009 will be amended to increase the tax-free threshold to 2.5 million and exempt wages paid to apprentices and trainees from payroll tax. The overall changes will increase the payroll tax-free threshold from 1.5 million to 2.5 million, giving Northern Territory the highest payroll tax threshold in Australia. And Madam Speaker, this is something to be proud about. This is a first right across Australia, and it's being delivered here, right here in the Northern Territory by the CLP government. During the election, the CLP government promised Territorians that businesses with wages below 2.5 million will pay no payroll tax. This amendment delivers on this promise and will save eligible businesses up to $68,750 per year. And as I said earlier, exempting trainees and apprentices will provide further savings for businesses and encourage them to invest in growing the number of Territory apprenticeships and traineeships. It's estimated that the changes will eliminate payroll tax expense and administrative burden for about 200 employers, whilst also reducing the amount of payroll tax paid by another 380 businesses with wages between 2.5 million and 7.5 million. These changes show the CLP is doing what it takes to rebuild the economy and make the Territory the place to do business again. Madam Speaker, we are taking action, we're delivering certainty and security for businesses here in the Northern Territory. And it was interesting to hear the opposition leader try to suggest that in some way by reducing payroll tax may have not only some impact on our budget, but suggested that it would impact on the building of houses in the Northern Territory. So I was particularly interested to hear what the opposition leader was talking about, because she tried to single out the Berkeley, Madam Speaker, and suggesting that we had already neglected Tennant Creek and the Berkeley when it came to rebuilding houses. And it was quite interesting to hear that because, as we know, Labor has had, they've just been virtually kicked out of government. They had 8 years in the Northern Territory from 2016 to 2024. But in reality, they were in government for 19 out of the last 23 years. So to come in here and suggest that the CLP is not delivering houses in the Berkeley and somehow linking that to the Payroll Tax Amendment Bill was quite astounding. So I think I've spoken about this many times before, but in the Berkeley, under the Labor government, we were significantly neglected by Labor. And I talk about the Berkeley, but what we do know is that the Labor was an absolute disaster right across the Northern Territory. But I do want to just point out a couple of things around housing in the Berkeley. Madam Speaker, there was a number of promises made by Labor to actually deliver housing in the Berkeley, and if you go back to 2020, the Labor government said that they would build 12 staff houses for health staff. They said they'd build 12 units at the hospital, and I think at that point they committed around $3.5 million, and that was back in 2020. In 2018, Madam Speaker, they also committed $5 million to build a new alcohol rehabilitation facility in Tennant Creek. And the critical thing about building a new facility in Tennant Creek was that Labor said that they would free up 19 houses, 19 public houses. So there's 19 houses being used for this alcohol rehab program, but Labor said back in 2018, and of course here we are in 2025, just prior to being kicked out of government, not one shovel would hit the ground over 6 years. So those 19 houses certainly were not freed up. The 12 houses, the 12 units for the health staff were certainly not delivered. But importantly, under the Barkly Regional Deal, which was signed back on the 13th of April 2019, Labor also agreed to build 20 social and affordable houses in Tennant Creek under the regional deal. So, you just got to do the basic sums, and the reality is that that's 51 homes. So 51 homes in the Barkly were never delivered, never freed up, never delivered in the Barkly, yet we heard the opposition leader come in here today trying to rewrite history, suggesting that CLP would now be relaxing some of the targets, not delivering because of this Payroll Tax Amendment Bill. So it's important that we get on the record, because we can't have the opposition leader coming in here trying to rewrite history because of the failed Labor government. All we heard from the Labor leader, the opposition leader, was things that she basically wanted to do. She was in the cabinet for 8 years, and obviously she had no influence in that cabinet because Labor simply failed to deliver all of those things that she was talking about today. So, as we see, Labor has been left with just 4 members, and we now have an opposition leader that knows that Labor has significantly failed over the last 8 years when they were in government. So coming in here and rewriting history, opposition leader, is simply unacceptable. We're out there delivering. We are delivering on the Payroll Tax Amendment Bill. This will give small business the opportunity to not only employ more people, expand their business, focus on employing more apprenticeships and traineeships. This is what will drive the economy. We went to the election saying that we would reduce crime, rebuild the economy and restore territory lifestyle. This is part of our plan. This is what we committed to back in 2024, and this is what we're delivering. So, opposition leader, to come in here and talk about apparently what's not being done in the Barkly, trying to rewrite history, the fact remains is that under Labor, 51 houses were never delivered in the Barkly region. We still have people living in tin sheds, overcrowding because of the incompetence and the inability of Labor to deliver what they should have been delivering over the 8 years that they were in government. So the CLP is delivering. It was just 3 weeks ago I was out at Canteen Creek in Epanara. 8 new homes are being built at Canteen Creek, 4 at Epanara, and I can tell you, Madam Speaker, the people living in those areas are absolutely thrilled that new houses are being built in remote areas. So, in closing, I want to thank the Treasurer for bringing on the Payroll Tax Amendment Bill. It does deliver on our election commitment. We have delivered on a number of election commitments just in the first 100 days of government. So, Madam Speaker, not only do I support the Tax Amendment Bill, but I regard this as a valuable piece of legislation that will really give small business the opportunity to not only invest further in the territory, but to employ more people, such as people into those apprenticeships and traineeships. And I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.